Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Hey, is there some cherry picking going on? I don't think so. But that seems to be the consensus surrounding the rumors that Gervonta Davis Abdul Wahid could be facing Frank Martin next. And when I say next, I mean coming up in March. Now, this is what kind of blows my mind, right? When we talk about Frank Martin, people already are saying Gervonta Davis is cherry-picking another opponent. All because Gervonta's not fighting Devin Haney, he's not fighting Shakir, he's not fighting Teofimo, he's not fighting Lomachenko. To that I say, in the most respectful way, to hold your horses and stop taking it to the stupid. I don't see how anyone on this earth can look at Frank Martin as a cherry pick. I was listening this morning to some bozos talk about Frank Martin. And these are the things they were saying. Oh, he hasn't fought nobody. He's a B-level fighter. Gervonta should be fighting guys who are proven. He's just out here picking low-hanging fruit again, picking cherries. Frank Martin is a cherry. And I had to stop for a second. I was trying to call in to that live too, to blast all of them, which I'm known for doing every blue moon. Because when you look, if you're gonna say that about Frank Martin, well, you could say that about Boots Ennis. Hell, some people say you could say that about Devin Haney. Some people don't want to give Devin Haney his credit. People are saying that about Tank Davis. So it just depends on what you want to look at and the opinion that you want to form, the narrative you want to create about a fighter. Now, I do think Frank Martin has a couple good wins, but you got to understand with 18 fights, 12 KOs, what do y'all expect him to do? You know what I'm saying? He got in there with Rivera, which was a very, very, Rivera at the time was a very hot prospect. And people were saying Rivera was a nobody. And Frank Martin got in there, man, and did the business. And then in his last fight with Artem Harutyunyan, that was an extremely tough fight, which that showed me that there's a lot of levels to Frank Martin, and he can dig deep when he has to. But with a guy who only has 18 pro bouts, I mean, you're acting like he's had the opportunity to fight Kambosos. You're acting like Frank Martin's had the opportunity to fight, Gervonta, to fight Devin, to fight Teal. You act like he's had all these opportunities to fight Edwin De Los Santos, to fight Shakir Stevenson. No, he hasn't. And when he did have an opportunity, it looks like he and Shakir Stevenson are trying to make a fight. Who knows who's to blame there? I mean, is Shakir to blame? Is it Frank Martin? Is it the money thing? You see, I don't know who's to blame. But the bottom line is, forget all that. We're here now. There were a lot of people who were picking Frank Martin to beat Shakir Stevenson. So how can you now come and say that Frank Martin is a cherry? How is this a cherry pick if most people are picking Frank Martin to beat Shakir Stevenson? I just don't get it. But what I will tell you is I just think with Tank Davis, a lot of fans are fed up. Look, I'd like to see Tank fight Devin. I'd like to see Tank fight Shakir. I'd like to see him fight Teal. I'd like to see him go up to 140. But at the same time, I think people are getting a little besides themselves when it comes to Tank, because I think they look at him and know his potential, and they just feel like he can do so much more. And I think they're just sometimes the harsh word and the criticism is a way to try to motivate and fuel them to get outside of their comfort zone and go out there and pursue greatness. But Gervonta's going to do what he wants to do. He started off fighting, 130, 135, 140. So this man started off fighting at a lower weight class. and he's comfortable where he's at. He already said 135 is where I'm comfortable. And even when you hear Tank talk, he talks about knowing, not to be disrespectful to the 140-pound division, 147, 154. Although I think Tank could handle himself because of his speed and his power, that doesn't mean he'll win fights at 147. At 140, I think he's right in the mix. But again, although Tank has long arms, he's short. He's got speed, he's got power, he has IQ. But those are much tougher fights for Tank Davis. And I just think sometimes when it comes to these boxing fans, they look at Tank and they say, it's almost like they want him to be in a fight that they can say this is truly a 50-50. And I don't think many people believe Tank Davis has ever been in a 50-50 fight. Even when he fought Ryan Garcia, there was I personally thought that fight was pretty close. And then the fight happened, and you can see that Ryan Garcia had success. But obviously, Tank was just a better man. When he fought Rolly Romero, I wasn't quite sure how that fight was going to go. And I don't care what anyone says. When you watch them first couple rounds, people on the edge of their seat saying, holy crap, Rolly Romero's beating Tank. And then, we saw how the fight ended up. So again, Gervonta Davis, Frank Martin, that's the rumor. Is it going to happen? I hope so. But what we're looking at here, we're looking at inactivity, man. And both of them are coming off. Well, I know for Frank Martin, it's, it'll be about 6, 7, 8, I don't know, like 9 months or so since his last fight. And then we know Gervonta, he was trying to return to the ring late last year, but, he had his ups and downs in his personal life. But both of those guys are coming off layoffs. Both of them have, undefeated records. They're both southpaws. And I just think it's going to be interesting. But the one thing that I was paying attention to is when you talk about and you take a look at his his specs. I don't know if Frank Martin is really a 5'8", but it looks like he's 5'8". I'm pulling something up. Gervonta Davis, 5'8" with a 68-inch reach. So he has the height on Tank Davis. But I'm gonna pull something up here because I want to see 5'8", 68-inch reach, right? Let me see something. Because I want to know when it comes to Tank Davis, as far as that height and reach. Let's see what it says about Tank Davis. Let me pull this up. Because I'm curious to know if Tank Davis, with his reach, what exactly is he? Okay, here we go. I think it was dragging ass, man. So 5'8" is Frank Martin, 68-inch reach. So see, this is what makes the fight so interesting. Tank standing about 2.5 inches shorter. Reach is about the same as Frank Martin. So Frank Martin doesn't really have any advantages going into this fight. Height-wise, yeah, but reach is about the same. And then Tank, of course, he's got that power, man. So we'll wait and see how the fight goes. But when you look at Tank's, let's look at the names on Tank's resume. Ryan Garcia, that's a good fighter. Hector Luis Garcia was a champion good fighter. Rolly Romero was a champion good fighter. Isaac Pitbull Cruz was a good fighter. Mario Barros, champion good fighter. Leo Santa Cruz, champion good fighter. Yuriorkis Gamboa, I get it, he was older, was a champion good fighter. I mean, just looking at that, those are some pretty big damn names. Pedraza, Leo Mars, Francisco Fonseca. I'm familiar with all those names. So I don't think people are going to be happy until Gervonta Davis fights. A Shakir, a Tiafimo, a Devin, go up, fight Suber and Matias. I don't even think they'll give him credit for Regis Prograis anymore. I mean, in order for him to keep these fans happy, Gervonta Davis has to put himself in a high risk type fight, which is something that he doesn't have to do. And you know what? He's earned the right to do what he wants. And what I mean by that is he's been marketed a kind of way, and he's put the work in the ring to make people want to see him. I'm not saying he's earned the right to have people come out and pay all the money to watch him and for him to make all this money because he's beat a bunch of champions like Floyd Mayweather. No, what I'm telling you is he's earned the right to do what the hell he wants because people are going to want to see him because he knocks people out. And that's what people want to see. And then he has a little swag to him. You know, he's an interesting personality. His name is always in the headlines, whether good or bad. But he knocks people out. So that being said, hey, is he cherry picking? I personally don't think so. But if he gets past Frank Martin, to me, this is moving up the ladder. If he gets past Frank Martin, there ain't no turning back. After Frank Martin, I mean, we got to be real here. When you take a look at Gervonta Davis and the 135-pound division, if that's where he's going to continue to campaign, I mean, after Frank Martin, I mean, what are we doing here? You know, he already fought Cruz. You got Stevenson, who's still there. I don't think nobody give him credit for Lomachenko. You know, Murataya, but when you take a look at Gervonta Davis in that WBA column, you got Zepeda, you got De Los Santos, Floyd Schofield, El Rayo. I mean, he's gonna have to fight some of these guys, man. Because that's really what he's up against. He's gonna have to fight some of those guys if he's not looking to unify. That being said, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. In the breeze.